Welcome to Let's Talk Football with me, Chris.
And me, Richard.
A podcast bringing you the latest in football news. Every week we discuss all the big talking points from the world of football and preview all the action in the week to come.
In this week's podcast, VAR is the centre of attention again after a tricky weekend for referees. The Manchester clubs are the only two sides to win out the current top five. And is Jesse Marsch about to make a quick return to football? He's been limped with the newly vacant role at Southampton.
Lots to talk about, and of course the big City Arsenal game also to come this week. So let's talk football. Hello everyone.
Hi everybody.
It is podcast time.
Indeed.
It's been a weekend, hasn't it?
Oh, VAR.
Oh, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening.
I don't know.
What is happening? There was some shockers this weekend.
I don't know. There was one that was more clear cut than the other.
Let's start the really obvious place then. Let's start with Arsenal Brentford, because I have no idea how I don't know which one they want really.
Okay, so they I don't think they're initially looking at Pinnock.
Yeah.
Because although he's technically termed as a blocker, which I'm not sure when that made it into football, never mind. He's not offside in the first instance because the ball goes miles over his head. They're not declared as offside. It's Norgard at the the near post when he flips the ball back across. That's the one that they've missed.
It's a bit odd though, isn't it? It's like
it's offside. You can see it.
It's all there. I was looking at it going, "Oh, he's offside, isn't he?"
Yeah, he's a good half a yard offside. You can see him.
It's not even what you just see it. You look at it, and the whole thing, you're just thinking there's something here not quite right.
Yeah,
that was bizarre.
And obviously, it took them 3 and a bit minutes to sort it out. Surely another 10, 15 seconds wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah, it was
to get
odd.
It right. Because for Arsenal, that could be a big goal.
Well, yeah, it could be massive if you think about the context of the whole weekend, and the gap's down to 3 points now at the top. Obviously, Arsenal do have the game in hand, but they have got to play City twice.
Yeah. It could be a massive thing in the title race, and I can see why the Arsenal fans are disgruntled, because I would be.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a bit of a shocker, really. I think they come out, haven't they? I think they released a statement. I mean, there's others. So we talk about the others before we get onto that. So there's a couple of other incidents. I want to talk about Souček because I think that's a great save.
Oh, what a save!
Yeah. I mean, they're trying to give it the whole, it was naturally as he was 4. He knew what he was doing. Come on.
If Lucas Fabianski is ever injured,
then they've got a guy.
They've got a goalkeeper. Absolutely.
Absolute. Yeah, totally. Just throw him in there. It's a great save.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's not a pen.
No.
And
in every situation,
so silly.
That's a penalty.
You can't just. Yeah, I'll save that.
Just turns it around the post.
Shocking. And then the other one was it the Palace Brighton game?
The Palace Brighton game. Yeah. This is the one that's not so clear cut.
Yeah.
It's not as obvious as the other two, but it's still an error by the VAR, who are supposed to be, they're supposed to be helping the referees, and they have a tough enough job already. The referees.
Well, if anything, for the refs on the pitch, it does take the attention away from them in some respects, I guess. It helps them.
Yeah.
Because if they're making all the mistakes in the video room, then the guy on the field is absolutely sound. He's like, well, Dave said it.
Even at Wolves Southampton, there was a bizarre situation. Did you see what the red card was involved with?
No.
So he got a second. So he got a second yellow card. The fella. Lamina for essentially being the third person to run up to the referee to complain.
Oh, yeah, I did see about this. This was odd.
And it happened again in the Manchester City game.
Did. Yeah. It's like they've kind of said us. But to be honest, this one, I see where they're coming from now. I don't know. The thing is whether they've communicated it.
Yeah.
If they've communicated it to the teams, and I would assume before you do something like this, you would have.
Yeah, if you've changed the directive, then yes, you have to identify it with everyone.
But you never know. I think they're trying to stop the crowding of referees,
Yeah.
and that I can get on board with. So I don't actually mind it. I think they just need to, they said, right, you can have 2 players.
So
maximum.
You can have 2 players, but a third one's just too many.
Comes over.
Yeah.
That's it. But I think it should just be. I think there should be a bit more of that kind of thing in there, so that if people are starting to charge down a referee, 3-4 players, then there's going to be consequences for that now, and that I don't mind.
No, but then I think I've been saying for years we should follow rugby's example, and be the captain, or if the goalkeeper's the captain, be an outfield representative. He's the only person that's allowed to talk to the referee.
No, I agree. That should be the only lines of communication, shouldn't they?
Yeah.
Which should be between the captain and the referee, and that should be it.
And that should be it. He should be the only apart from when he's booking a player or giving a player a card or just a warning.
Just talking to off after a foul. But that would be the referee.
Should be a captain.
But that would be the referee. And even in rugby, in those situations, the captain goes over too, don't they?
They do.
So they give the foul, and it's like captain, player, or come here. They have the chat, and they go right away.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that maybe they should be looking at doing.
They should, because it will stop all of this nonsense.
Yeah.
Because it's been a thing for many, many years in the Premier League.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And in the EFL as well. That, people run up to the referee, and you're like, he's under enough pressure already. You don't need to be in his face, because you're going, handball, handball, handball. He's got half a second to look at it.
Yeah.
And he has to kind of make a judgment call within that half a second. Yeah.
No, I agree. We just need to change those things up a little bit. But yeah, no, VAR. I mean, they've released a statement, haven't they, today?
They did. They released a statement
earlier this week.
The chief refereeing officer, Howard Webb, contacted both clubs to acknowledge and explain the significant error in the VAR process in their representative Premier League game. That's basically what it is. Human error.
Mm-hmm.
Which, okay, it's human error. We're all human.
Arteta doesn't seem to believe that, though, does he?
Well, Mikel Arteta has his own opinion.
What did he say today? It wasn't human error. It was not understanding your job.
Yes, essentially, that's what he said. Which, he's got a fair point. He's got a reason to be. Yeah,
that's the thing. He's just a bit. Yeah. He's just in that position at the minute, and we've had a few, haven't we? Really, this season. You think about the goal in the Manchester derby as well. Yeah. There's lots of little things that are starting to pipe up.
I would imagine if it was on the other foot regarding Mikel Arteta, he probably wouldn't say too much.
Well, neither would probably 99%, 90% of the managers in the league. Do you know what I mean?
See, Mikel is cracking a little bit under the pressure.
Well, we'll see how it goes. I mean, like I said, you're just hoping, you're praying for that downfall.
It's the only thing, Chris. It's the only thing I've got left.
I'm praying for 2 draws, to be honest, between those two. That's what I want.
I am praying and hoping that the wheel on the wagon comes off.
Two draws, and that might just bring us back into it a little bit. We've still got Liverpool to play.
I think you're done. I think you're done.
I think if they draw, you've got to think. I genuinely, we've had the conversation. I genuinely don't think we're in it.
No,
but we've got to be ready, right?
You've got to be ready to pounce if they fall down. Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I would love us to win the league this year. So the best way for us to be able to be in that position is if those 2 draw.
Yeah.
The 2 games between each other. Because then they're both taking 4 points off each other.
Yeah, and then you've got to just sort of, be there, as you say. Yeah.
But I very much doubt it. I don't think we've got the depth this year.
Sadly not.
We've got a few injuries as well.
The green shoots of recovery are there for you.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm very happy. You think about the Leeds game at the weekend for us. We probably, last season in particular, especially last season, we don't score in that game.
No.
But they kept going, they persevered, and the cross from Luke Shaw is phenomenal. Because I think Luke Shaw might play on Thursday, because I think Martinez is suspended.
Oh, for you, Europa League.
In the Europa League.
Yeah.
And Sabitza's also carrying over a suspension from the Champions League.
Oh, is he? Okay.
So, luckily we've got Casemiro back for that one.
Yes, because he can't play in the league, but he can play in the...
Yeah. Well, it's his last game. The Leicester game's the last game of his suspension anyway.
Don't talk to me about Leicester.
We can talk about that because that's funny. That I mean, Leicester. Talking of green shoots of recovery.
I know we've just bleeding stepped. I nearly swore there. I nearly swore. We've just stepped all over.
That was a blooming moment, and of course you've lost your goal scorer as well. Bentancur's out now, isn't he?
Bentancur is out for the season. So we've lost 4 players in a week. We had a fully fit squad for Manchester City last week, and now we've lost 4 in a week.
So yeah, Leicester absolutely spanking Tottenham. Yeah,
took us apart. By the sounds of it, Pedro Porro had a bit of a nightmare, and Tim Sherwood was enjoying it. By the looks of it.
Yeah, by all accounts, I've heard some not very nice reports. Well, I mean, it's a bit harsh. It's his first game in the league.
Yeah.
You know, it's a culture shock to the Premier League, I think, for most players.
Yeah.
That play in there, so you know you've got to be patient.
But again, it doesn't make sense. Obviously, Emerson Royale last weekend was our best player against Man City.
Yeah.
And then you drop him. I don't understand.
Well, you think about it, right? I mean, he was literally. I mean, Tanganga come in, didn't he?
Tanganga came in for Romero, which was a bad decision. Davinson Sanchez should have started all day long.
You think Sanchez should have started. But
all day long.
Overall, the performance level wasn't anywhere near what it was against City.
No, and I know what you're going to say next. What was the difference?
What am I going to say next? Oh yeah, Conte was back on the sideline, weren't he? I mean,
he's back on the sideline.
Tottenham's best performance of the season, Conte wasn't there. They put him back. He's back the next week, and it all falls apart.
It all falls apart. And 4-1 flattered us. It could have been a lot worse.
It was a shocker, absolute shocker of a performance from Tottenham, and it was interesting to say the least. Because you know Newcastle had dropped points.
Yeah.
Which
later in the day, obviously, but at that point, a win would have put us above them. Yeah.
Well, it would have put you level, I think. So you'd still been in 5th, I think.
Yeah.
On goal difference.
We haven't really lost anything, but we've just got spanking instead.
Yeah, no, it wasn't ideal. All that confidence that you got from that game.
Yeah,
gone. And all this talk about Harry Kane potentially signing a new deal and staying flips again this week.
Oh, okay. He's leaving now, is he?
This is the thing, you see. After the City game, I was watching Tottenham fans and that saying, "Oh no, there's a project at Spurs. This is going to happen. Everything's going to be great." And then a week later, you put in that performance.
We're not going to send him to a Premier League club, but we are going to send him abroad. Yeah.
All that stuff. He's like, "Oh no, I'm not sure whether he'll stay." And it is what it is. It keeps swapping. I think, but we have to talk about Leicester's recovery because they've shot themselves up the table again now.
Crikey. 2 4-goal hauls. Yeah.
Yeah, huge as well for their goal difference. Yeah. They're only on -2 now on their goal difference, which is
phenomenal, really when you think how bad they've been playing this year.
Oh, yeah. Well, having Maddison back's been massive for him, hasn't it?
Yeah.
He's their one at the minute.
Yeah,
he's the one that's going to get him through this season. And potentially someone might come in for him next season.
Potentially, yeah.
Might be a Tottenham move.
Might be.
I would think.
I think we're probably probably towards the front of the queue. Yes.
Yeah. If he does move, but then Leicester looking good. Let's talk about then. Let's go where what we've got.
Nathan Jones.
Yeah, let's talk about Nathan Jones. I mean, he ain't lasted. What was it? 3 months? Was
4
it?
Months.
4 months.
4 months.
Yeah.
Best manager in Europe.
Best manager in Europe, according to himself.
Yep.
Lost his job. And he's going to be replaced by a guy who
also lost his job.
This is a strange decision to me. Because what Southampton have done is they've sacked an inexperienced manager.
Yeah.
For an inexperienced manager.
Yeah.
Essentially, that is Southampton's main problem, is that they've got a squad full of inexperience.
Yeah.
And with a squad of inexperience, you need experience.
Yes.
And that comes from, if you've got a manager, I mean, the only thing I think Southampton are looking at is look at how he turned Leeds around last year.
Yeah.
And got them out of trouble last year. It might not be their long-term solution.
No. They're not in the biggest of holes, Southampton.
They're not cut adrift.
Out, but, yeah.
They're not cut adrift. A couple wins could soon change that if they're able to do it, but it's tricky down there at the minute. Because, even after the Merseyside derby, you'd still expect Everton to...
Yeah.
I think under Sean Dyche to find a gear.
I mean, going to Liverpool was always going to be difficult for them.
Yeah.
They were far too open, Everton.
Well, yeah, and Liverpool's recovery, it sort of reminded me how United were after the Brentford game.
Yeah.
Like, it was their rock bottom. Like, that Wolves game last week for Liverpool was their rock bottom.
Yeah, you can't get any lower than that.
And they've had a full week on the training pitch.
Yeah.
To recover from it, to get back from it, and have that bounce, and having that Merseyside derby, similar to how United had Liverpool.
Yeah.
Having that big game to focus on and look at, really gives them something. And and when you looked at the people that were coming back off the bench, Firmino was back, Van Dijk was back, Jota was back on the bench, came on for a bit as well.
Yeah.
Liverpool might go, oh, okay, we might just be on the turning point to be able to recover
and salvage something. Yeah.
Yeah. Whether they'll be able to get the top 4 from here, it's a big ask.
Unlikely.
It's a big ask. They're 9 points behind Newcastle at the moment.
Yeah.
But you never know.
No.
If they
never know.
If they put a good string of results together, you never know.
Yeah. So yeah, Jesse Marsch in at Southampton. I always get worried when managers change their manager twice in a season.
It's not ideal.
No.
It's not ideal at all. But obviously, the thing is that what was really odd is they're desperate to stay up, Southampton. Because, they were talking about, we can see all the good work that's happening on the training ground and all of this with Nathan Jones. But obviously, they weren't getting the results quick enough.
It's a results business at the end of the day. Yeah.
But was Nathan Jones a better option long term? If that was the case, if he was making those changes at the training ground and putting better coaching in place for their players, would that not be a better solution? Because you stay up this season, there's no guarantee with Jesse Marsch off the back of his record with Leeds this year that he's going to be able to develop and progress a squad at Southampton.
It seems like, from Southampton's point of view, it is the fans wanted him out, and the board have just gone, do you know what, you're right, let's get rid of him.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think, the fans were never that keen. I think some of his press conferences have been weird. Talking a big game for a guy that did okay with Luton.
Yeah. To be fair, he took Luton to the playoffs last year.
Oh, yeah, but you've done okay. You haven't worked miracles with them.
No, you've punched well above your weight at the Championship level. Yeah. But
Premier League's a different game.
It's a very different ball game. Yeah.
It's that's where all the best managers in Europe are, my guy.
Yeah. And as for Leeds, it seems like managers are turning them down left, right, and centre.
Yeah, it looks like they are in a bit of bother.
So they're talking about having an interim manager till the end of the season and then doing a proper appointment in the summer.
Yeah, you see, I don't like this. I don't like it. I didn't like it when United did it last season with Rangnick.
Well, it doesn't show any direction.
Yeah, it just doesn't work.
You're just hoping that the guy that comes in gives you enough of a boost to get you out of where you're in. And
well, yeah, but it's that whole thing of, we saw it at United last season, and I was saying it all along, wasn't I?
The players were down tools, and they did.
Yeah, they don't need to play for this guy. He ain't going to be here in 6 to 7 months' time.
No.
The difference, I guess, at United was the same with about 8 or 9 of the players. They knew, their contracts were in up. They weren't going to be here next season.
Well, I can see why people are turning Leeds down, because they've just got rid of Jesse Marsch. He wasn't doing a bad job.
No, but the quality, they were starting to get picked apart a lot, weren't they?
Yes and no.
No, they were. They were getting picked off. They weren't losing massively.
No,
but they weren't picking up games. They weren't necessarily getting into games. They weren't necessarily.
No, but then they bought in the striker, the Ruta fella, and he's the trouble is bringing a striker in January. You've got to bed him in as quickly as you can, but kind of just ease him in. Obviously, Patrick Bamford, bless him, he's never going to score you 20 goals a season.
Not in the Premier League.
No. And that's Leeds' biggest problem. It has been for a while. Goals. And,
yeah.
If you can't score them at one end and you can't keep them out of the other, you're in trouble.
Well, yeah, but that's the position that they're in, and that has to fall on Jesse Marsh. He's had 2 windows to try and sort that. Hasn't been able to. Like I said, people knew how to play him against them the last few weeks. They knew they could get at them. They're defensively very weak. They played well in the game against United midweek.
Yeah.
Particularly the first half. The second half, we absolutely battered them.
Yeah.
And in that midweek game, we contributed to our own downfall in that first half.
Yeah.
And of course, we had chances that Garnacho's in particular to get the 3rd goal.
Yeah.
And we should have. And then at the weekend they played. I thought again they were hot, under the new regime.
They were good in the first. They were good in the first half. They were
first
active.
half again.
Yeah,
they had the energy. They were going, but they had opportunities.
But once they conceded, you see the fight go out of them. Yeah.
Well, it was just 10 minutes to go, wasn't it? And the second one goes in.
Yeah.
Well, they threw a lot of bodies forward after that to try and get an equaliser, and that's when we were able to break, and Garnacho was able to get away. Well, what a finish that was, by the way, as well. I mentioned the first goal and the header from Rashford.
Yeah.
Who is on fire right now. He's got 21 now this season. He's his 2nd highest goals ever in a season. I think his highest is 22, so he could better that this week.
Yeah.
You never know.
I can't see down the bottom how it's all going to end up.
I think Leeds are going. Yeah? I think it'll be Leeds, Bournemouth, Southampton.
Okay, you're going with what it is apart from Everton.
Well, I think Everton. I think Sean Dyche's experience, and he'll get at them. Although they didn't look the same without Calvert-Lewin yesterday.
No, and that's going to be the biggest thing for them.
I thought Sims did really well actually for a bit. You could see why he went with him over Mopé to start with, because he just wanted.
But then he just got lost in the game, didn't he? As soon as it started to pick up the pace, sort of one end to the other, he kind of lost that sort of focal point at the top of the pitch, which, as you say, Calvert-Lewin would have given you. Yeah,
exactly. But that extraordinary, by the way. I mean, I know we're jumping all over the place this week, but take it back to that Merseyside derby. That first goal when Tarkowski hits the post.
Jordan Pickford doing?
Well, I just think from the moment of it, to be honest, the Tarkowski header hits the post, and 15, 20 seconds later, it's in your net the other end.
Ridiculous. Yeah,
that's a tough one to take, and of course that knocks the wind out of Everton, and they're never recovering from that at Anfield.
No, because
even as bad as Liverpool have been.
Nicely, yeah.
Yeah, that was the best they've been. Probably the best I've seen them play this season. Actually, Liverpool.
Yeah, they looked in control of the game, didn't they? So
yeah. In the Premier League, obviously, they battered Rangers, didn't they?
Yeah.
Did Bournemouth take a beating off them as well earlier in the season?
I think they did. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but in terms of that overall, I thought this was the best I'd seen Liverpool. Their energy, they were at it. Jordan Henderson was all over the place. It looked like a Liverpool team. I think the question for Liverpool now is, can they carry on with that?
Yeah, and we will see.
We shall see, indeed.
Special mention for Willian.
Yeah.
Great goal.
Yeah.
Fabulous finish.
Great goal. And I'll tell you what, Fulham seem to have revived Willian from out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Because when he left Chelsea, even towards the end of his time at Chelsea and his time at Arsenal, he was he was nothing, was he? Towards the end of he was really good, wasn't he? He had 3 or 4 really good seasons with Chelsea, or however long it was, and then his last season at Chelsea wasn't great, and then he didn't really do anything at Arsenal. And you think, oh, that's okay, he's a player on his way out. He's been a really talented footballer, but I don't know what Fulham are getting out of him at the minute. Marco Silva is working magic with him. Brilliant. But no, Fulham are playing really well. They're top 7.
Yeah. After
their win now, level on points with Brighton. I still think Liverpool and Chelsea will find their way up to those sorts of positions.
They will. I don't think they'll necessarily end up in the top 4. They might see us as the weak link in all that.
Yeah. But we'll see how it all kind of plays out, that one.
Mm-hmm.
Right then. So I guess the other thing then, we've got the big game tomorrow night, Arsenal Man City.
Huge.
Big things on
Probably
the line.
The biggest game of the season so far. This one.
I would think so. And if City win it, then it puts them level. Obviously,
well, they go top,
Arsenal,
don't they, on goal difference?
Yeah, on goal difference. Yeah, but Arsenal will have their game in hand.
Yeah.
But they've got to play each other again. I think this is big. I think this is a big game for Arsenal.
Yeah.
I kind of think for their confidence. I mean, in the context of the league as a season, mathematically, it's not a must-win. But I feel after the loss to Everton, after the draw at the weekend,
it's a mustn't lose.
Yeah, whatever the circumstances behind it, I really think they need a result. I think they need to win it. Are they at the Emirates?
They are at the Emirates, so they have got home advantage.
I think they need to win this one. And I'll tell you why. Because just from a confidence point of view, they're dropping points. They keep dropping points. I guess it depends as well how the game goes. Because if you're 1-0 down and you get a last minute winner, that's a last minute equaliser or whatever.
Yeah,
that's a different mindset. So in some ways, it depends how the draw comes about. If they take an early lead and City peg them back towards the end of the game, you know what I mean? I think it's kind of one of them. It's who comes out with the momentum at the end of the game.
I think the trouble is, as we've always said with Manchester City, once they get out in front, and albeit with goal difference, they will be out in front. You ain't catching them.
I mean, just a week ago, that gap was 8-9 points. 8 points, wasn't it? And Arsenal fans were ridiculing Gary Neville for saying it only take a couple of results and it can all change.
Yeah. No,
and here we are tomorrow. If City win, they'll go top. Yeah. Whether, a game in hand or not, they'll be top of the table and Arsenal will drop down. And then I think they'll struggle because funnily enough, when City put their best players out at the weekend against Villa, they were really good.
They were, but I mean, they were a bit disjointed. I thought Villa were... I texted an Arsenal mate and I said, if City play like this in the second half against you, you'll have no trouble.
They'd taken their foot off the gas. They'd done what they needed to do in the first half. It's a different set of circumstances than what they're going to be doing against Arsenal tomorrow.
I thought Villa got in very easily on a couple of occasions.
I just think that's purely down to just City knowing that, they were experienced. They know they got this big game on Wednesday.
Yeah.
They don't want to be putting in too much more energy than they needed to. Yeah, it's going to be one of them. It might be a little bit of game playing going on with Pep.
Mm-hmm. The master of the mind games.
Yeah, the current master of the mind games.
Against his former apprentice.
Yeah, so, it's a big game tomorrow. And I think it's not the end of the world for Arsenal if they lose. But I feel that the momentum will shift. The momentum will shift. And, with having Diaz and Laporte back, I mean, City need to sort out this left-back position. Bernardo Silva drifting into a left-back position was weird.
Yes,
so
very weird.
You can't do that against Saka.
Yeah, no, they'll have to play overall, with the back four.
Yeah. But, having Diaz and Laporte back, having Gundogan, De Bruyne in the midfield together, Haaland up top.
Grealish seems like he's...
Grealish is the man. Yeah, Grealish is creating things. Obviously, Foden came on for a bit, didn't he, at the weekend, back from injury.
Yep. So
it all seems to be coming together for City at the right time, just at the point where Arsenal have had a bit of a blip.
Yes.
So,
I wouldn't be surprised if Nathan Ake was the left back tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that's probably the right choice. I think that would be the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Go with your experience in these big games. Go with your experience.
Yeah.
They're not over the hill.
No.
They're players who are in their prime, really good, and I think that's what they need to do, 100%. And they should hopefully
enjoy.
Come away from their point of view anyway with a win. And Arsenal really have got to show that they're on that level and that they can beat City. I mean, City are beatable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We've seen that a few times this season. And that for them, it's just the mindset that they go in with. Arsenal need to go into that game believing that they can win the league.
Yeah.
They have to go in with that mindset because that's the only way you're going to be able, because this City team will keep going.
Yeah.
And, De Bruyne finally started to find Haaland.
Yeah.
He made a run. They went for it. Obviously he didn't score, but he created that second goal. for Gundogan. So they need more of that. They need to go direct a bit more at times. And I think Haaland could boss those two centre backs if he's fit. No doubt in my mind. He's stronger than them. He's probably taller than both of them.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I haven't looked at the stats, but he definitely looks stronger than them.
Yeah, I was going to say Gabriel might be quite close.
Yeah, Gabriel's quite big, a tall lad, isn't he? But yeah, it'll be a good game. It's an exciting one. It's an important one for the league. So we'll see how it all pans out on that one. Right then, so that's that. Well, hopefully we'll know more after tonight, and we'll see how that all plays out. Around the world then, what's been happening in football around the world?
Well, we've been talking about managers a lot this week. And I'm going to start this week with the return of a legend. Neil Warnock has come out of retirement to take over at his old club, Huddersfield, until the end of the season to try and save them from relegation to League One. That's huge news, and welcome back, Neil. So glad to see him back on the football pitch. Hopefully he'll be all right. Hopefully Huddersfield will stay up, because I like Huddersfield, to be fair. Anyway, moving on to League 1, where Monaco beat PSG 3-1, causing Kempembe to apologise to the baying away support after the game. He got a megaphone and everything to try and calm them down a little bit. Marseille won 2-0 to close the gap at the top to 5 points. In Serie A, Milan, who we're talking about, taking on Tottenham in the Champions League. You already know the result for that one. They secured their first win since the World Cup by beating Torino by 1-0. Napoli continue to cruise at the top as Inter could only draw with Sampdoria. With Real Madrid away winning the Club World Cup, Barcelona took full advantage by beating Villarreal by 1-0. Valencia's woes continue as they were beaten 2-1 by Bilbao. A mass protest was held against the owner Peter Lim as the Segunda looms large in the rear-view mirror. Normal service seems to have resumed for Bayern Munich. They beat Bochum by 3-0. Union Berlin kept up the pace, though. They beat Leipzig by 2-1. The two sides meet in 2 weeks' time. Should be a cracker at the top of the table. In the WSL, Manchester United returned to the summit after seeing off Tottenham 2-1, but Chelsea didn't play this weekend, so have a game in hand. Manchester City leapfrogged Arsenal, hopefully not for the first time this week, after beating them 2-1. Aston Villa hit Brighton for 6, and Leicester beat Liverpool by 1-0 in the other games. In the A-League, Melbourne City continued to lead the way after beating Perth Glory 4-2. The Mariners and Adelaide United both won to keep the pressure up, or the 8-point lead, and they have a game in hand, so it's Melbourne's to lose at this point in time. To Saudi Arabia, where Ronaldo scored all 4 goals as Al Nazir beat Al Wadar. 3 sides currently lead the way, with Al Ittihad and Al Shabab level on points with Al Nazir on 37. And finally, to the Scottish Cup, where Darvel's run is over after losing 5-1 to Falkirk, and a bizarre incident occurred in the Rangers versus Partick Thistle game, as Partick Thistle were allowed to equalise after a mix-up involving Malik Tillman, who ran on to score following Partick kicking the ball out of play for Tillman to receive treatment. Rangers won the game 3-2 against their championship opponents, who sacked manager Ian McCall after the game following a poor run of results.
Well, you can't sack him after losing to Rangers in the Cup.
I don't think it was just that game. I think it was a culmination of they were mid-table in the championship, and they're looking.
The thing is, if you know that though, right?
Yeah.
And what if he wins that game against Rangers? You're still sacking him? Hell no.
No, you're not.
You can't sack him.
To be fair to Rangers, to do that for the game to go to 2-2, I mean that could have gone either way in the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously Rangers come out on top, but it was quite funny, to be fair.
And also, can we talk about you cheating Tottenham women, please? Cheating women's team. Cheating women's team. Yeah, when.
Oh, okay. Sorry, the sending off. Yeah.
A little bit of play acting on the floor.
Look, we've given you a goal.
Always Tottenham.
What more do you want?
It's always Tottenham, isn't it? It's always Tottenham.
That own
always
goal.
Cheat. I can think of Son cheating as well against.
Behave.
They're all at it. They're all at it. These Tottenham players.
Behave.
And
there's quite a few people at the
most Tottenham own goal ever, by the way. It doesn't matter whether they're men or women. It's the most Tottenham own goal you'll ever see in your life. Like, literally, there was no danger.
Of the net.
There was no danger. Literally, the other defender was coming in from the side. There was no danger. It was absolutely the most Tottenham thing I've ever seen in my life.
As well, which
she took the ball away from her own player. It wasn't even a United forward. Wasn't it? I think Russo was still on the pitch at the time. It was hilarious. Yeah, she was. I think it was Russo that was trying to run in on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we take those. We take those.
Chelsea again. Gonna get you.
Yeah, they probably will. They've got the experience, obviously, with Emma Hayes behind them. Who's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Manager at that team. They've been so successful. You know, United are trying to get into that conversation and want to be a part of it. Which is great to see.
Speaking of United, Peter Lim, obviously, he has a stakehold in Salford City, doesn't he, as well?
Yes.
There's all sorts of things going on at Valencia.
Yeah, well, this has been going on for years, and you can take it back to even when Gary Neville was there.
Yeah.
Like, Valencia have been in trouble for years now.
But they did a proper mass walkout. There was literally not a soul in there.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that all plays out. I mean, it's difficult, isn't it? The whole Spanish league is struggling
financially. Yeah.
So there's two clubs that can get away with stuff in the Spanish league. Everyone else, it's a struggle.
It is.
And they have to be very, very careful with how they manage their money.
Yeah, agreed.
Like, you don't get bankrolled like the other two.
Ooh.
Literally.
No.
Right then. So that's all around the world. Is there any point asking about Donis? Has he been up to much?
There is points about asking about Donis this week. So
let's hear it then.
For those who have missed it, he was with, I forget the name of the team.
FC Zurich.
FC Zurich, that's the one. He has moved to the Austrian Bundesliga with Hartberg. They won by a 0-0 on the return of the Austrian Bundesliga. Donis lasted just over an hour before he was substituted. Unfortunately, they did score the goal once he got off. So,
yeah, it's not looking good, Donis.
It's not looking great, but they are off the bottom of the table. But with their league, it's the bottom six that are involved in the relegation playoff thingy. So,
he looks like he's going to be involved in that.
Yeah.
Well,
14 points so far.
We say involved. He'll be on the bench by the end of the season.
Start the game. I mean, it's better.
Doesn't sound like he's contributing much.
No.
All right, well, there we are. That's how our Wonder Kid is getting on then. So then, let's have a quick look at the fixtures this weekend in the Premier League.
So we start this weekend in the Premier League with Aston Villa taking on Arsenal at 12:30. Brentford versus Crystal Palace. Wolves against Bournemouth, a big game down the bottom. Brighton against Fulham, another big game down the bottom between Everton and Leeds. Chelsea take on Southampton. Nottingham Forest have the envious task of taking on Manchester City. Good luck, Nottingham Forest. In the 5:30 game, a Premier League classic as Newcastle take on Liverpool at 5:30. Manchester United and Leicester are your 2 o'clock game on Sunday before the London derby between Tottenham and West Ham at 4:30.
Plenty of good fixtures this weekend then. So yeah, that's pretty much it from us this week. Thank you for listening. Don't forget, if you want to get involved or let us know what's going on in the world, in your football club, want us to talk about something going on there, then you can tweet us at Let's Football. You can send us an email at letsfootballpod@gmail.com. But we'll be back next week with all the latest news from the Premier League, as well as looking at the action that all took place. But for now, everyone stay safe, look after yourselves, and we'll see you all next week. Bye.